Hey guys, it's Brianna. So, I know this video is a little long overdue considering I was planning on making YouTube videos when I was living in Spain, and to be honest, I just ran out of time, so I didn't end up making videos. The only thing I did was I took a whole bunch of pictures, and that's really all I can show you because I didn't really film much or make vlogs of my time living in Spain. So the only thing I can show you guys is pictures and tell you stories of my experience living in Spain. Now, if you don't remember my other videos or if you've not watched them yet, I actually decided to go to Spain and live there for about 9 months. So I went for 2 semesters, and this is kind of going to be me going into my whole study abroad program because I actually studied 2 different ways. So my first semester, I studied abroad with an American study abroad program that was not funded, but my university accepted credits from this study abroad program. And so I ended up going with them to Spain, and I went to the city of Alicante, which I absolutely loved. Alicante. Alicante was one of the best cities for me personally. I mean, there's a lot of great cities in Spain, and there were some cities that I visited in Spain that I was like, oh, I kind of wish I studied abroad here. But, like, looking at everything and all the cities that I was like traveling to, Alicante was one of the best cities, and I absolutely loved it. But if you're not the type of person who likes living in a little tiny city, and I'm not saying Alicante is a tiny little city, it's not like, I mean, I don't know the best way to describe it, but there's still plenty to do, and also it's on a beach, so that kind of makes it nice. The weather is pretty nice all year around, and even during the winter, during the coldest months, it really was not that cold. I mean, where I was living, never snows. I mean, it's too warm for it to snow. The coldest it probably ever got was maybe 40 degrees, and that is like in the middle of the night. 40 degrees in the middle of the night, that's probably the coldest it got. So that was good experience. I liked it. I actually arrived in Alicante and there was a huge heat wave going on. It was one of the hottest weeks that Alicante has experienced that entire summer. So I just so happened to arrive at the hottest time. It was probably over 100 degrees when I was there. And I was thinking in my head, oh my gosh, it's going to be this hot the entire time I'm living in Alicante, which it wasn't. It did eventually get colder. But yeah, the climate is good. I like the weather. There's a beach. Everything is so close to you. Like literally, I could walk anywhere I wanted to. Like if I needed to go to the train station, it was a 5 minute walk. If I needed to take a bus somewhere, a bus was 2 minutes away. If I needed to take a tram to go to school. By the way, the tram to go to school was the only thing I needed to take to even go anywhere. Like everything else was pretty much walking distance. If I needed to go to a grocery store, I could just walk across the street. There's a grocery store. The beach was about 15-minute walk away. So everything is just so nicely, conveniently located that I didn't really have to rely that much on public transportation. I could just walk wherever I wanted to, and that was very nice. That's something that I love about living in the city, and I don't think I realized how much I actually like living in the city until I studied abroad. So that's one thing that I loved about Alicante. The only downside, though, is that Alicante doesn't have a ton of history. So if you're someone who wants to go to a big city and go to a ton of museums and learn about the history and stuff, probably Alicante is not the best city to do it. But Alicante is great if you're a college student who wants to learn Spanish, and the nightlife is great in Alicante. I loved how I mean, I could just walk to the bars and stuff. I mean, it wasn't that hard. There were a few clubs that were in Alicante as well, but most of them were bars that kind of had music, and then you could just kind of dance along to the music. So that's kind of what they had there. And then there were some big clubs that were open, but they were only open for like a short amount of time. Like once it hit winter, they closed down. And it did cost about 15 euros to enter. So if you wanted to pay money to go into a club, you could. But with these other smaller bars where there was music and people you could dance with and stuff, and those were free. And a lot of times you could even get free shots or free drinks because people on the streets will be like, "Oh, do you want to buy? Do you want to come into our bar? We'll give you a free shot. We'll do this." So it's really fun, and that's also another thing I want to mention too is you don't have to worry about driving a car or ordering an Uber, which by the way, Uber is illegal in Spain, which kind of sucks, but I never really had to use Uber anyways because I could just walk everywhere. So overall, studying abroad was really good, but I'm going to refer back to the American Study Abroad program, and then something else I did was I directly enrolled to the school, to the university, after I had done one semester with an American program. Now, before I actually studied abroad to Spain, and when I was trying to figure out the whole process for studying abroad, I actually didn't want to go with an American program because I thought that I would not be able to practice my Spanish as much, and I didn't really want to hang out with Americans. Like, I wanted to hang out with Spaniards. Like, that was my overall goal. And it is true, if you go on an American Study Abroad program, you will be hanging out mainly with Americans. You're not going to really be as much with Spaniards. Like, that's something that you will have to go out of your way to find people to hang out with. Like, it's not like they're in your study abroad program. It's not like they're in your classes. All my classes were with Americans as well, so didn't take any courses with Spaniards. So you really have to like make a buddy. Like they had like a buddy system going on, so you could meet other Spaniards and you could practice your Spanish. I did have a buddy the second semester, but I don't think we had a lot in common, so we just ended up not really hanging out. So, and also another thing too is that Spaniards can be a little bit closed off, so sometimes they're not as willing to make friends. But the positive side was that when I was directly enrolled for the second semester abroad, I did make a group of Spaniard friends, which was fun. I also did have one Spaniard friend, like the first semester, that I actually did hang out with a lot, but the second semester I did have other Spaniards that I took classes with because I did directly enroll to the university. Now, which one did I actually like better? And to be honest, I really enjoyed studying abroad with the American program only because Spanish people don't travel. That's the only downside. Like, and it's kind of sad to say this because it's true, but most Spanish people are too poor to travel. And I only say that because the economy is doing really bad. And I don't want to I don't want to say that all Spanish people can't travel or whatever. It's just not normal. You don't really, when you're traveling throughout Europe, you don't really meet a ton of Spanish people who are in hostels or traveling around. It's usually like Germans, or it's usually the French, or the Brits. Oh, the Brits are the main people to come to Spain. They want to escape from their winter, so they come to Alicante, and they well, this winter wasn't as warm, but during the springtime, you saw a lot of British people coming over and enjoying the sun and stuff. So that's the thing. Spanish people don't really travel, and I really don't think I met any Spaniards when I was hosteling through Europe. That's the only thing. I did end up traveling with one. No, actually, well, I had a Spanish friend, and she invited her friend to come with us on a trip to Belgium. And that was the only time I traveled with a Spaniard. The other trips, I traveled with all Americans. Americans are gonna be the ones who will travel with you, and they're usually the ones who end up becoming your best friends on these type of programs, and that's what I really liked. But yeah, I do kind of wish I practiced my Spanish a little bit more because I feel like I didn't. When I was in the classroom, I did learn a lot about like grammar and reading and writing, which is a plus, but since I'm just in a classroom setting, I'm not really talking as much. So another thing I want to talk about too is that I traveled to over 10 countries. And I had a list on my phone, but since I'm recording on my phone, I'm gonna have to think about it on the top of my head. So Spain. Spain, I'd never been to. It was my first time there. First time living there. I had been to Europe before, I will mention that, but I just had never been to Spain. So I went to Spain, I went to France, I went to Morocco, not part of Europe, but still cool that I went to Africa. Went to Switzerland, went to England, went to Croatia, went to Austria, went to Czech Republic, went to Italy, and then where else did I go to? I went to Hungary, and then I went there. I think those are all the countries I went to, but if I forget any, I will put them here somewhere in the video. But yeah, I traveled a lot while I was living in Europe, and I'm really glad that I ended up studying abroad there because I originally wanted to study abroad in Costa Rica, but I didn't like the capital, I didn't really like the city, and there really was no opportunity for me to travel that much if I was living in Central America, but I had Europe and I had Spain and I could just go there and I was able to travel on the weekends because since I was an advanced student and since my Spanish was pretty good and I was able to take upper Spanish level classes, I didn't have school on Fridays. So what I would do is I would leave on Thursdays and then I would travel for 3 days. Thursday night. Usually Thursdays you don't have time to really do anything. You just take an airplane, you fly somewhere, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday you have the whole day to explore and travel and visit a city, and that's what I mainly did my first and second semester. My second semester I did have a little bit more free time to travel longer periods of times, but I will kind of go into that a little bit later. But definitely my first semester, since I was transferring credits into my university and I was getting my minor in Spanish. So again, I'm really sorry for this complete delay of a video because I did really want to make videos and I will try to make an effort to talk about all the experiences and all the things that I did and the people that I met because it was so much fun. And to be honest, I don't even really know what to do with myself right now because I'm home. I don't travel anymore. Like, if I wanted to travel, it would be very expensive. And I have to find a job. I still have one more semester left before I graduate from college. And it's just like, I want to be back in Europe. I want to be traveling. I loved Europe. It was really, really fun. But yeah, anyone who's considering moving to Spain or not moving to Spain, but studying abroad in Spain and they want to live in a city with really nice nightlife and everything is walkable. It's very cheap to live in Alicante. I will mention that because if you were planning on studying abroad in England, which I know a lot of Americans choose England because they speak English, and I really think you should go out of your way to go to another country, and even if you don't learn the language, at least learn about a completely new culture, because I think that's really cool. I actually originally wanted to study abroad in France, but my mom kind of talked me into studying abroad in Spain, or at least a country that spoke Spanish, because even though I do speak Spanish and my mom's Mexican and I did grow up learning Spanish, my Spanish is definitely not perfect. It still isn't perfect. I still wish I practiced my Spanish a little bit more. But yeah, that's my main reason for going, and so happy I did. But anyways, I hope this kind of gives you guys an idea of what it was kind of like for me to live in Spain and to live in Europe. And I hope to be able to talk about my experiences while I was living there. And if you guys have any questions or if you guys want me to make a video about something, please feel free to comment down below and I will try to talk about it in future videos. But anyways, thank you for watching and I'll see you guys later. Bye.